Another disturbing video that will leave you asking, is this our America? Take a look at this incident out of Florida, and I'll give you the details after. Now, the boy at the center of this beatdown is a 14-year-old. His mother, an attorney, claimed this violence stemmed from the boy's support of President Trump and him recently wearing a MAGA hat to school, Make America Great Again. His mom said he wore the hat 2 weeks before this attack. Now, the boy's school says, however, claims they've done some digging and they have no evidence to support the child ever actually wearing the MAGA hat to school. 5 children seen in that hat, 5 children seen in the video were arrested and charged with misdemeanor battery. In the meantime, what's more disturbing is how this goes down racial lines, with adults describing the black students as animals and thugs. Here to weigh in on this school beating is Dr. Glenn Wilkerson, we call him Dr. G, from the ARC Group, and attorney Isiah Evangelista, and conservative commentator Vicki Morales. Glad to have you here on The Factor Uncensored. When you see this video, Vicki, of this child being brutally beaten or attacked on the bus, your thoughts?
Most definitely, it is a hate crime, and it is very sad to see that we are seeing this hate within our children. Children are supposed to be protected by our school districts, by our laws, and by us, the adults. What are we doing to teach these children to carry hate? Why are we seeing these hate crimes and violence and
you call it
children?
A hate crime because of what?
Because of, if you take your child to a doctor and the doctor asks the parent what is going on with the child, the parent, they take the response from the parent. So the mother of this child has said he was wearing a MAGA hat and he was being bullied. For 2 weeks he was being bullied, he was being slightly beat up, but then at the end of the day, he finally got it on the bus. He was savagely punished, savagely beat up. And if the mother is saying that, we have to take in consideration her words. It means a lot. He's a child. Let's
bring Isiah into this. Do you see this as a hate crime? What I didn't hear from Vicki was this is a white kid and the other kids were black.
So as a mother watching the video, it's very disturbing to me. With my attorney hat on, you know, we only see 21 seconds of this video, but what I did do was some research on the mother, and she goes by the handle American Diaries. And if you look at her Twitter feed, 3,500 Twitters, you could tell that she has an alt-right leaning and she's a staunch supporter of Trump. So, you know, in my opinion, I believe that she has taught her child hate. And she knows what MAGA represents and the magnitude of what would happen if she sent her child with hate paraphernalia. And that's what she actually did. And she may have disturbed the senses of the students. Now, we're taught we never are the aggressors. We don't start a fight. We fight with those who fight with us. But in this instance, as an attorney, we don't know what transpired before the camera came on, or if he actually said something that was aggressive, hateful, racist. But I can say this, you know, there's a First Amendment freedom of speech, but what we do see is anger and we do see hate going on in that video.
And really quick, when you see all of the adults weighing in on social media, calling the kids animals, thugs, they should be thrown in jail. On the other side, you have blacks who are saying the white kid, he shouldn't have wore the hat. I have no sympathy for him. When you hear adults talking like that about teenagers.
Well, I mean, it's obvious. It's the adults who actually really initiated the anger and the hate in the first place. The mother with her anger and her hate for African Americans, because that's what they're trying to do, create a narrative for hate and race.
When she initially described it, she says 8 black kids beat up my child.
She created the narrative for this, because if you look at what the police department said and the superintendent said, there was no evidence of hate at all. That's why no hate crime was actually, you know, the prosecutor didn't pick it up. So she created this narrative. Let's not get it twisted. Go to her website, her Twitter feed, and you'll see that she is a racist.
Dr. G, let's bring you into this conversation. Very disturbing, and we're just going to look at the facts here. Children on a school bus attacking each other, or at least attacking this kid. How did we get there?
You know, Isiah, we have looked at several videos of bullying on this show, and I think this is probably the most graphic, most violent that we've witnessed. And I see this not as a hate crime, I see it as a parent crime. I think that I'd bet $1 to a donut that the kids who perpetrated the beating themselves have been bullied at home and have been beaten at home. And so we have this continuum of parenting from one generation to the next. And if a parent raises a kid in a way where the child feels loved and wanted, then in fact, if our parents raise us in a way whereby we feel loved and wanted, then we are going to probably raise our children so that they feel loved and wanted. And the child is going to address the world in a spirit of compassion and kindness. On the other hand, if we were beaten by our parents, chances are good that we are going to beat our children, and then our children are going to go and beat children on a bus. Mm-hmm. So it's just exactly how it transpires, that children relate to the world around them precisely in the manner in which they feel about themselves, which is why Mother Teresa said, if you want to save the world, go home and love your child.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Well, also, Vicki, let's take a look. When you see that parent, when she initially described the aggressors as 8 black kids on the school bus, was that appropriate? Was that sending a racial message?
I don't think it's appropriate, but let's not concentrate on the mother. Let's concentrate on the child. The child is being beat up. The child is being savagely beat up. We should talk about the child and not the mother. He is the one who is being affected here. It is 5 children beating him up. He is not beating anybody. He's trying to cover himself. The trauma, the psychological, physical, and emotional consequences of what he is getting is going to damage him for good for at least 20 years. It takes 20 years to overcome a trauma like this.
Really
so let's
quick,
talk about the child. Let's
really quick, in 10
child.
seconds, the mom started a GoFundMe account.
The mama narrated this whole incident. She wants attention. She wants to put focus on Trump 2020, and she wants to use this as a way to incite a racial war, a race war.
All right. Thank you all for joining us here on The Factor Uncensored.